he said, follow the signs of the universe. I'm like, maybe that's this episode.
Yeah.
How do we follow the signs?
Okay, I love that. And he didn't see sunflowers. He was locked up in a room.
Right.
In a dark room. And he painted this from his memory. And his whole story behind that was that the sunflowers will always find the light. And they will grow towards light because that's what they do.
Yeah.
And that's how he felt internally about that. And that's like one of the, I just truly believe that about artists, is that we have to stop with the noise and we have to come back to ourselves and we have to listen to our higher, to whatever is true to us. And that goes back to what we were talking about before. I think that there's signs everywhere and we just have to surrender enough to our higher self to like see them.
Hi, everybody. My name's Peyton.
I'm Leah.
And welcome to Beyond the Scene, where we talk about frequency and alignment through the lens of
fashion,
art,
and music.
And a little bit of woo-woo.
A lot of woo-woo. Which just happened right now.
Yeah, we're going to put a pin in that. First of all, we would love for you guys to follow us, to join our creative rebellion. And you can do that by seeking us out on all the platforms, Beyond the Scene podcast, and scene is SEEN, because we're talking about what's beyond what we see.
Yes.
Speaking
and
of
also follow us on the socials, because Peyton and I give you fun little tidbits that is not on the podcasts.
That's right. The circlebacks.
The circlebacks. and the ridiculousness.
All right, so we maybe we'll do this explanation in a circle back of why we literally just threw out an entire episode and we're starting over. So check the circle back for an explanation of legit all the woo-woo stuff that just happened in our studio. But what it created was a space for us to talk about signs from the universe. The new episode.
Look, we have no question. We have nothing.
We don't have our notebooks.
Nothing. It's just signs from the universe and how when things happen like that, pivoting's okay.
Yeah, pivoting's okay. So I'm an artist. You were in the music industry for a very long time, behind the scenes, literally.
Yep.
And then you made a switch into fashion. So you're in the fashion world now. So maybe let's just open up a discussion about what do we think signs? I mean, I think everybody understands what signs from the universe are, right?
Right.
Like they're physical things that manifest themselves in our physical world that we attribute to something non-physical.
Right. And being aware. So our previous, what we were talking about is just like unmasking. I think that allows us to become aware of signs from the universe and how you can take those things and they can actually push you into a greater, wider space, an evolution to create more.
Yeah.
And to invite people to create more and to shine light and let people know it's okay.
What do you consider like a sign from the universe?
So signs from the universe can look almost like anything. So I tend to, because of my alignment with music. Mm-hmm. If there is something going on and a song comes on, I'm like, oh, hello, okay. And I'm listening and it's telling me things. Like it's telling me things. I also feel like there's signs when I know I should pivot, and that'll be malfunctions. Wink, wink. When things don't work out, or it's hard, like the process just won't start.
Yeah.
There are things that just can't happen, and you're like, okay, I need to step back. For instance, in my career right now in styling, I have gone through multiple seamstresses, and for whatever reason, I'm having an issue with coming into alignment with someone who is collaborative and wants to work with me and and they'll fall off for various reasons. And again, I'm not going to name names, but it's been this struggle with what is going on. Why can't I find someone that can collaboratively work with me, my design? I am a beginner seamstress, sewist. And I feel like, and you and I talked about this, but like I am, for whatever reason, resisting sewing. And I don't know why. And then my seamstresses keep falling off. I have my sweet little, my latest one. That sounds horrible, but my
she's just like running through.
I'm running through. Right. But she has to move back for unforeseen circumstances. She has to move back to Texas, and I'm devastated. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I'm now I have this new one. But you and I talked about it last night. It's like, is this a sign from the universe? Do I need to pivot what I'm doing and take the leap and jump in and just start creating the things I want to create, because I know my designs don't exist and I need to make them.
Yeah. There's so many things I want to unpack here. One of them is this concept of what you said, awareness, right? So you have an awareness. You are aware enough to know that the universe or God or your spirit guides or your dead grandma or whoever who has your best interest at heart,
right,
will speak to you in non-traditional ways.
Right.
And so you have an awareness around that. So when things happen in your world that are kind of off, or patterns,
or positive,
just different, right? Mm-hmm. Like the pattern, it's either a repeated pattern or it's a change in a pattern. You have the awareness to say, I wonder if this has some sort of meaning to it.
Right.
And it may or may not. Versus, and I think where a lot of people get stuck, and I have certainly been stuck there, is like, I used to say, like, why is this happening to me? Why are all these roadblocks? What's happening to me? And now the language I have around it is, this is happening for me.
Yeah.
And so it's my job to be open to what is trying to come in. Right.
Like
if things are being removed,
there's a reason.
You're losing seamstresses right and left for whatever reason. So then what path is being cleared for me?
Right.
Which I think it's a mindset difference, right? We go from being a victim of our story to being the creator and the author of our story.
It's that theory when your clothes get hooked on the door handle, slow down.
Right.
Like, stop rushing, or don't, you can't get out the door quick enough, and then, and you miss an accident on the freeway,
right,
on the interstate. So I feel like now I can recognize that, but I was with you. I was like, God darn it. Like, why does this keep happening? And then I step back, and now it's not happening to me. It's happening for me. And
again, I love our podcast because we're getting curious.
Yeah.
We're just asking questions and being curious and open-minded to what those answers may be. I think when I was first, I left an abusive, long-term abusive relationship, and I couldn't learn enough about the things that I always wanted to learn about. And one of those things was spirituality and mediumship and psychic readings and all this kind of stuff. So when I first dove into that world, I was like, there's signs everywhere. They mean something, everything's, and then I almost gave up I gave up my own personal power to all these signs. I'm like, well, if I didn't see a cardinal and a blue jay and a blue heron, then
you can take it too far, right?
Then this is not right. So I was like giving up my own personal power to the signs.
And then it swings back around to authenticity. And then so you were not being authentic to yourself.
Right.
You were giving power to this, these signs are this and this and this. But what does Peyton think?
Right.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, what is true for me?
Yeah.
What is in alignment for me?
Right.
Can I be curious about, does this mean anything? Does it
resonate with you?
Does it resonate? Yep. All the things.
And is it creating something bigger? Because that's my other gauge. Is this allowing me to create more? Mm-hmm. Is my stuff getting better? Yeah. Am I doing all these things, And I think we kind of touched on it previously, but I went through a space in time where my self-worth was only connected to who I was working with. And it took me a minute to go, you know what? I'm working with me. And that's kind of how all these signs happened for you and I. It was like, how did we come together? Let's create this. Let's shine our light out there, because all of us have a light to shine, and we all have something. It's not just who you're connected to.
Right.
You're a flashlight too. I don't know how else to put it. The other thing too is giving up the attachment,
right? Yeah. Giving up the attachment to how it's supposed to look.
Right.
The only reason why you and I are together is because I got dutiful to following the signs and giving up attachment to if they were going to even take me anywhere.
Right.
I'm going to show up at this place because it feels right to go to this place at this time.
Stepping into the void.
And we'll see what happens, and I'm unattached to the outcome.
Right.
And we'll see what happens.
I love that, being unattached to the outcome. I think
it is the way to live.
Expectation is the greatest disappointment you can give yourself.
It really is. Mm-hmm. Being unattached to the outcome is the key for me. I have a question for you.
Yep.
So are the signs when we talk about signs, you know, these things that we see that we think are guiding us on our path, can we get signs from our own soul? Do you think like we have this like higher self version of us that can give us signs?
Like the video game theory?
Versus like, you know, it's like, you know, okay, my dad sent me this image of, you know, the Rolling Stones, which is a connection I have with my dad, you know, in a really specific way. So I can attribute that to him, right? Is it possible that we can give ourselves signs, like our higher self? I believe that we have this higher self version, this ethereal version of ourselves that already knows where we're supposed to go. But we're stuck in this little, like you call it, human meat suit. And we're like, I don't know where to go. And your higher self's like, I told you, go this way. So do you think that we can give ourselves
I believe signs? That 100%.
Yeah.
And also stepping back and listening. Like quiet the noise and listen. And I think that sometimes gets all the shit out of the way and you can see the path. Like if we can just be quiet enough to get the fuck out of our own way and stop with the noise, so many things come into focus.
I had this really great visual that I want to share about being intuitive, because that's what we're talking about. Like, are you listening? Are you aware? Are you intuiting to the things that are trying to show up in your world and guide you? And when you talk about getting rid of the noise, I thought, okay, so your intuition, your guide, whatever, is like somebody tapping you on the shoulder, right? But if your life is so noisy that you have 100 fingers tapping you all over constantly, how are you going to discern the tap of intuition? How are you going to discern what is the true tap versus what is the noise?
Yeah. That's why they take artists, musicians specifically, and they'll go hole up in a house somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Can you speak to that? I would love to, like,
because I think
you have a lot of experience with your friends and your colleagues in the music industry doing things like that.
Yeah.
So
they will go into a quiet, dark space and
like a physically quiet, dark space.
Dark, like no electronics, or, you know, for the most part. And they'll sit with their authentic self, their intuition, their higher self. And that's where they'll be the most creative. And so I think sitting in a room,
like a person, like a musician, one single musician walking into like,
or collectively, like you can sit with a collective and get that same energy out. But I do believe that it's removing yourself from the noise, getting yourself pulled away from. And I know a lot of artists these days sit in rooms, you know, just in the city, it's a 9 to 5, and they're just bumping out, like pushing out all this nonsense. It's just for the sake of pushing out because the label has requested that you have to have this many things put on your, you know? And so I think there is something to be said for the magic that happens when you remove yourself from the noise and you go hole up somewhere. Yeah. And that's where you create these magnificent things. I think artists, so Vincent Van Gogh, he did the same thing. He was holed up in a mental institution and was forcibly set into a space that was quiet and had no noise. He wasn't fending for his own self, food, and all the craziness that was happening. He got holed up in a mental institution and painted one of the most significant pieces of artwork of his life.
Was that Starry Starry Night?
It was the daisies.
Oh.
Sunflowers, sorry. It was the sunflowers.
Yeah.
And he didn't see sunflowers. He was locked up in a room.
Right.
In a dark room. And he painted this from his memory. And his whole story behind that was that the sunflowers will always find the light. And they will grow towards light because that's what they do. And that's how he felt internally about that. And that's like one of the, I just truly believe that about artists, is that we have to stop with the noise. And we have to come back to ourselves, and we have to listen to our higher, to whatever is true to us. And that goes back to what we were talking about before. It's like, it's signs, it's unmasking, it's the dark night, it's whatever you want to call it, but it happens.
How can we strip down the things that are no longer serving us, including our ego and our false beliefs, to get to a place of quiet peace where we can let the signs come in, let the flow happen?
Yeah.
Do you think that creative people are more adept at that skill, because it is a skill.
Well, we talked about this, creators. So creative people and creative people, in my opinion.
And the job of creating something and bringing something forth into
artistic
the world.
People.
Right.
So I think there's like artistic people and there's non-artistic artistic
right. So
people.
in the course, so then let's define in this conversation, creatives would be like musicians, artists, fashion.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Do you think that those types of people, like the world that we're in, are more adept at maneuvering and understanding the signs? Or do you think, again, like it's
I think they're more open to seeing the signs.
Yeah.
Whereas someone who is, an accountant or a brain surgeon or an engineer, they're so in the right here, right now matter, like anything that's physical and tangible to them is the only thing that exists in their world, that it's harder for them to see, I think, signs that are, might be considered woo-woo.
Also, too, because I've been in the world of surgeons, and strikingly, that a lot of surgeons and physicians are artists and musicians also.
My son, we had this conversation. My son was in a horrible accident. He almost died. And he's a musician, drummer, all of these things. His hand was destroyed in this accident. Yeah. And his orthopedic surgeon that came in, there was two of them. So they had one work on his big bones, like his other bones, these ones. And whatever they're called, the big bones. But they had him come in and work on his tiny bones here. Yeah. And I said, my son's a musician. My son was in a coma. He was out of it. And I said, my son's a musician. Please, please, please. And he said, I'm a musician too. Don't worry, he'll play again. And I was like, okay, I believe you. But to your point, a lot of them are. Do you think that's like a...
Well, I think it's interesting. I think that... I have a heavy background in science. I also have a heavy background in getting heavier, like not heavy, but like I have a deep background in the intuitive stuff too. And I think I'm always learning on that, and that's growing on a daily basis. But I think that there is some crossover. I think the key is, in what you said, it's willing to be open and aware.
Right.
So I think that, the physicians and the surgeons that I know, used art and music as a way to access something that they couldn't in the OR, And so, but, what I would love is for those, for them to be able to access that in the OR, you know what I'm saying?
And that's the point of this, right?
Right. That's the whole point. Like, so, and, my partner, Pete, who's our producer, a lot of the work that he was doing as a surgeon was creating things that didn't exist before, especially with this complex, like orthopedic surgeries, like that's really truly on the spot. Like it had never been done. He had to figure out how to do it. So it's like, okay, I'm taking the knowledge of the things I've had and I'm like just doing what I can to get this patient off the table.
And you also said that a lot of doctors, surgeons played music in the operating room. And I've seen that, but in movies, I've never actually witnessed it myself. But that music has a vibration, right? And that vibration is something that they're tuning into while they're actually fixing this person. And I think there is something to be said for that.
Well, I think, again, it gets back to the emotion, right? Like when I was practicing medicine and I was an assistant for heart surgery. So I'm in surgery for hours. And there's a lot of that becomes routine. And so the music that you listen to can get you into a happy, calm mindset. It helps you
reset, right?
Yeah, reset. I don't know. Like I think, and everybody's different. Like every surgeon's different. What they want to listen to, what they don't want to listen to. But it can really elevate the mood when the mood's needed.
I believe that it changes everything.
Yeah.
We've talked about it in our other episodes, but there'll be a space where it's heavy. Everything's dark. There's been arguments, and especially like in these big productions, like it's intense, right? We're not saving lives, but there's a lot of moving parts. And we will stop and take a 30-second dance party. And it changes your whole mind.
It does.
You're just like, boom, reset, cool, love it, let's go now. Now we can go and finish what we started.
Right.
And it does make a difference. And I think that, like I said, that music in the operating room, it's got to do something.
Yeah, I think it does. It did for me. You know, like I can't get through this 5-hour surgery without something to bring joy,
Right.
Otherwise it is just, it's a lot, you know?
Yeah.
I think, if we're talking about receiving signs from the universe that we're on the right path, and what does that mean? And I think it's coming back to awareness. Like, how do you connect this physical world that we're walking around into to the divine inspiration that's just waiting to show up and just hoping that you'll pay attention to it? It's awareness. It's like being willing to understand that there's something out there that's a little bit bigger than you, that you maybe can't put your finger on, but that is just as important in your life as the physical stuff that we see. And
being open to doing it.
Yeah. And I think
okay, I can do this. Okay, let's jump in. Okay, let's do, maybe this isn't working out. Okay, let's try this. But being like flexible and fluid and trying to like surrender is my big thing. Like, okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
Let's go. Show me which way do you need me to go now?
Right.
As in today's episodes. Like, it was.
Just wait for the circle back, people.
It was interesting. It was interesting. But I love, like I said, I think this episode, we're going to keep it a little lighter and a little shorter. And I think that there's signs everywhere, and we just have to surrender enough to our higher self to like see them, to be aware.
Yeah,
to open
see
our
them,
eyes.
be aware, and then also like again practice unattachment. Right, like William Shakespeare, great quote: "Nothing is either good or bad until thinking makes it so."
Right.
So you can get a sign from the universe. Just be curious. What does this mean? Does it mean anything at all? Does it spark me to think in a different way or to look down a different path?
Right.
When I was, example from my own life, it was during COVID and I wanted to bring joy back in my life. I thought, well, what did I used to do as a kid? Okay, I used to paint. So I'm like, okay, well, it's a broad topic. Where can I start? And I was scrolling Instagram, and one of the first things I saw was an ad for an online course on portrait painting. And I just knew. I'm like, that's for me. I'm going to be great at this. I clicked it, I bought it, and that launched the whole thing.
Everything.
But I was open to, at that point in my life, I was really open to, okay, this is the first thing I saw. Spirit speaks through technology. We just figured out in the episode we tried to film but never did. But it does. It speaks in lots of different ways. And when you understand the language, all of a sudden now it's just a language. Now you're having a dialogue with the universe, with spirit, with the divine. And it can make your life fun and more magical. It can lead you down paths you never thought you would have. I mean, I never in a million years thought I'd be doing this with you.
I know. Well, like I said, that just came to me one day. I said, I put it on TikTok and I was like, I just want to do a podcast. I have stuff to say. And I took my TikTok, like my little, like, I don't want to be seen, to like doing my fit checks, to like talking to the camera and being out there, and to where I realized, like, you know what? I do want to do a podcast. I think I have some stuff to say. And I don't know where this is going, but when I mentioned it to you, you were like, oh my God, I totally wanted to do one. And it just happened. And we were like, okay, let's do it. And then Pete jumped on and we were just here. And in our first 2 episodes, it was like, that was a sign from the universe. Yeah. Like, I don't remember what we talked about.
It's interesting because about the time that you were like on TikTok, and I didn't know the story until now, about the time that you were on TikTok, you were saying you wanted to do a podcast. I was in my own life thinking to myself, man, I'd like to do another podcast. Maybe somebody will ask me to be on their podcast. Or, I had podcast on the brain, and I had not had that on the brain for a very long time.
Yep.
And then we had just a regular meeting about some other stuff. And you're like, I got all these ideas. And you had opened up your journal and has all these ideas for a podcast. And I was like, I was curious and aware. And I was like, ding. Okay.
Yeah. And to not be afraid,
pay attention to this,
when
right?
you get those opportunities, is it going to hurt you to just try them? Like, okay, sure, let's do it. Let's go do these things. And that's where I feel like, and I try to teach my kids this, and I'd like to teach everybody, as many people that will listen to us, but what's the worst that can happen? Go and do these things. Expand your horizons. Go and do it. Back to the fashion and art and music. Go paint. Go put on clothes that make you feel good.
Do you know how many times I've heard people say, oh, but I can't paint. I'm not creative. And I'm like,
just go do it.
I don't have enough time to say everybody is creative.
Yeah.
Like everybody can, it doesn't have to be good.
No.
Do you know how much crap art I've made?
It's therapeutic to me, honestly. And this sounds so shallow, but shopping to me is therapeutic but it's some form of creation. Like I can go, I can design this. I can do that. I'll scroll for hours on like different shops and different, boards and forums and whatever. But I just feel like it is a form of creativity, no matter how shallow people think it is, but it's a form of expression.
Well, it's interesting though, because you're saying how much you love shopping, and then I'm looking at your whole life loving shopping, and here you are now in the fashion industry. So it's almost like you were following the signs all along. Like one of the things about being on a spiritual path, and I hate to sound so esoteric, but it kind of is, right? Yeah. So we'll just call it what it is.
Right.
Is that you're on it when you can't see the path anymore.
Yeah.
So you're on a spiritual path when the path disappears.
Yeah.
Right. And so
and you're just going.
But if you were to zoom out, like any one of us could zoom out and look at our life and say, oh my God, Leah loved to shop, and that was part of something that brought her joy. So she kept doing that, not knowing that 20 years from now, she would need that shopping experience that brought her joy so that she could show up in a more authentic way for her fashion styling clients. Yeah. Right?
So crazy. Mind blowing.
We don't know.
We don't know. That's the point.
Spirit knows.
Yeah.
Whether it's our higher self or whether it's our dead grandma or whether it's like, some spirit guide, archangel, or whatever, good old JC.
Yep.
But they know, but we can't see it. Again, this podcast is called Beyond the Scene because we're talking about a lot of things that we can't actually see, but it's a feeling, it's a pull, it's a frequency, it's a vibration, it's
a truth.
It's a truth, and our only job is to try to tap into and get in alignment with that, and then take that next step of faith because it's the thing.
It's the next thing to do.
It's the next thing to do.
And I think that is, like I said, on this one, there was all of these moving parts, and we just bring it back down, and that was a sign, following these signs, bring it back down to here. And go back to the root of why we're doing this. And the root of why we're doing this is because we feel, I want other people to know it's okay to shine their light. It's okay.
Yeah.
You can. I had that attachment for so long that I couldn't shine. I had to attach to someone else who shined.
Right.
And being seen. Being out in the front instead of behind the camera or behind the, in the production office or behind thing. And I feel like this is just a natural unpath. I don't feel like we're on a path here. Like I said, we're going with the flow. We're going with the flow.
The other thing too, when talking about signs from spirit and talking about your feeling of not wanting to be seen, a lot of the times we think about signs as we see an animal or we find a penny on the floor or electronics or the light flicker, whatever. But signs can also come through other people. And for you, that looked like somebody suggesting to you to do a TikTok, right?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody else made a suggestion. And also like your whole fashion career was
just because
Emily Ann saying you should do this for a living. And you were like, something inside of you heard that and went ding, and you took it as a sign.
She just asked. I got complimented a lot on the clothes that I wore and how I styled myself. And that was, Emily was like, I'm going on tour with Blake Shelton. Can you just style a couple of the, and I was like, girl, this is, hell yeah, let's go. Let's do it. I didn't hesitate. That's the other part of when something's right. There's no hesitation. I know it and I feel it and it's authentic to my whole soul and I'm in. Yeah. And I go, okay, yes. There's not this like pushing or pulling. I've gotten into some things, especially out here, moving from California to out here, where I was like kind of trying to want to shift, right? What do I do? Work here, work there. I'm not sure how this all works. And I got into a little thing with some people and immediately felt like this is not the right thing. Mm-hmm. Something feels off. Something feels not right. And that's how it worked out.
Yeah.
But higher self, whoever knew already.
Yeah.
Like that's not where you need to be. I'm going to take them and move them out of your life. They do not need to be here. My seamstresses that they do not need to be here. This is how you need to go.
Right.
And I'm at the point where I'm like, surrender, just go with the flow. It's going to happen where it's going to happen.
Right.
This podcast, I feel like that too. We have no expectations. We're just here to like spread some light.
But you know what? We ride at dawn.
But we will go hard. Regardless. Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I love it.
So yeah, I think, like I said, this episode, we just kind of like, we're here winging it. We don't even have our notebooks. We're just kind of like following the signs of what we needed to do. And it's going to be probably shorter than the rest of them. But it's just, I think we just needed to take a minute and take a break and reset and regroup.
Yeah.
And again, we'll give you the details in our circle back. But
it's a good one.
the topic of today, brought to us by our wonderful producer, is listen, follow, just be aware of the signs.
Listen, there's nothing more terrifying than having an entire notebook full of stuff.
We
and
put it down.
At the last minute being like, okay, I've had 8,000 things happen that say we need to shift gears.
We're shifting.
Let's not waste the time. Let's do something different.
Yeah. So we did. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said.
Oh, hey, one more thing. What are you listening to? Can we do like one of those things? Because I have something I want to share.
What I'm listening to right now, I threw it back. So you asked me to do a Spotify or a playlist of my life. So I went back. I was like, let's roll it back to the beginning of time. And one of the first records, and it was an 8-track. It wasn't even a record. 8-track that I can remember in my pea brain was my uncle's Willie Nelson's Redheaded Stranger, and it was The Preacher.
I am gonna cry.
And that is the first thing that and so I'm taking it. I started my list, but that's what I'm listening to. Willie Nelson.
So I told you that one of the signs that I connect with my dad is Rolling Stones.
Right.
The other one's Willie Nelson.
Shut up! He's here. Hello. Yeah, that was the first little 8-track. And it was a storytelling album, right? So when I heard it and I was listening to it,
that's
I
amazing.
saw, before this movie was ever saw, I saw the movie in like the 90s or whatever.
Did you see Pete?
No.
I stopped listening to you like 30 seconds ago because I'm just like, the room is buzzing and I'm like, and as soon as you said Willie Nelson, Pete's hand went to his heart.
Wow.
Because we both know like.
That's a sign.
From my dad, yeah. Like, that's amazing. All right, not that I can top that, but...
So, what are you listening to?
Right, so I, first of all, talking about vintage soul, I went to the Goodwill, and I just was like really drawn to this shirt. Like, it's a Ford Mustang shirt, and I cut the sleeves off because these cap sleeve looks better on me than sleeves. Anyway, but one of the reasons...
Color is perfection.
Right, thank you. But one of the reasons why I bought this shirt is because I have a good friend named Dusty Bowe, and he has this record out. It's called V8, and and Dusty is fantastic. I haven't played any of your stuff, his stuff for you, but there's a song on here called Mustang Man, and as soon as I saw this Ford Mustang shirt, I'm not like a classic car girl, but I saw this shirt and I instantly heard Mustang Man in my head.
Love that.
So I'm giving Dusty a shout out if,
We'll have the links to
Dusty
our
Bowe,
recommendations.
Yeah, we'll put it in. But the Mustang Man song is great. And it's really, truly, it's kind of a story about Dusty's authentic path growing up and how he did things a little bit differently. So anyway, yeah. So that's it.
What a great way to wrap up this episode.
Good grief.
It was a little bumpy, but we did it.
I said before, but in our conversations leading up to today, I said, you know what, one thing I've learned is that spirit will never let you down.
You did.
Spirit
and we also
never
set our
let you
intentions,
down.
and guess what our intentions were?
Joy.
And our last episode was less joyful. So I think we pulled it together here. We pulled it together. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it and that you found a little bit of joy in our episode, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. I'm Peyton.
I'm Leah.
Welcome to Beyond the Scene.